Today is Friday, and I am looking and searching for a silver lining somewhere. Stay tuned, everybody. Hey, for the best meat you have ever eaten, check out samsbutchershop.com. Go and shop around. When you go to checkout, enter the promo code Triple T for a 5% discount. Check it out. And a happy Friday to you all. Hello, everyone. This is Trailer Trash Tim. How's your mama and them? Thank you so much for joining me today. In Alabama, it is chilly and dreary and rainy, and it's Friday the 13th. It's just not real pleasant outside, so I hope you have better weather where you are. There's a couple of things I want to get to today, but before I do, let me give you 2 or 3 programming notes about the next 2 to 3 days on the Trailer Trash Tim channel. Tomorrow is Saturday. Am I correct about it? Yes, tomorrow is Saturday. And that means Trailer Trash Tim Playhouse. Every Saturday, I endeavor to do a Trailer Trash Tim Playhouse. Folks, we need a break from all the madness we're surrounded by. And that's what Saturdays are for. So we're putting together a show for you today, actually, for tomorrow's Trailer Trash Tim Playhouse. Make sure you tune in. While I'm thinking about it, so I don't forget, please do me a big favor. I know I always ask for thumbs up and subscriptions and all that jazz, and I do want that. But please do me a favor and share this channel, share our videos with your friends and family and enemies and neighbors and in-laws and outlaws and all your social media so we can keep our channel growing. I would really appreciate that. Maybe we could get some more folks turned on to our channel and keep growing. So if you would try to remember to do that, I would really appreciate that very much. So that's what's happening tomorrow, Trailer Trash Tim Playhouse. On Sunday, yes, we are doing another live stream. And the live stream this Sunday is going to be at 3 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. That's local time here in Alabama. I hope you can join me for that. We had several here with us last week, and so come prepared. Bring your questions, and if you have any, or your input, and we'll just have a good old time together. That is this coming Sunday. What is it? The 15th at 3 o'clock p.m. I just ate a big breakfast of bacon and eggs. Woo, it was good, and a bunch of coffee too. I need some more coffee. Sunday at 3 o'clock p.m. I'm a little forlorn today because I am supposed to be in Florida. I look out the window of the camper here, and it's rainy and chilly and dreary, and I was supposed to be in Florida. I was going to St. Augustine, Florida for vacation next week, but stuff happened that I no need to go into, and I had to cancel my trip to Florida. What a bummer. But anyway, maybe we can reschedule that for some other time. Okay, now, on Monday, I'll be back with a regular show like we have today. I'm going to be endeavoring either on Monday or Tuesday. I want to do a more comprehensive program on Monday. It may have to be 2 parts, I don't know. But in light of the war in Israel and Palestine, I really want to get into some history, and I want to talk about the origins, or somebody said the word is origins, not origins of Israel and Palestine, and where it came from, and where all these, couple of thousand, it really 4,000 or 5,000 years it has come from. And I want to give that a closer look, because you really can't understand the present until you understand the past. If you want to understand the current events, you really need to look at the history so you'll have better context to better understand current events. I was working this morning, and I had my radio on in my truck, and I was listening to a local news program here in Birmingham, and the host of the show was just apoplectic about what is happening to Israel, and he's just regurgitating all these talking points that you hear in the media, and there's no need to go into it, but his take on it was just 180 degrees opposite of what it really should be. If we accept the premise that you should accept, that almost everything we hear from the Western media is a lie, and certainly from the American government is a lie, then it would stand to reason that what we are being told with regard to the Israeli and Palestinian war and Hamas and all that is also a lie. And I'm telling you that in large part it is. And we've already had reports that have revisited some of the fantastic claims that have been made about atrocities that Palestinians have done, which turned out to be nothing but a farce, a complete fraud. Certain things were a lie. It has come to light. So we want to be objective. We want to have clear eyes and clear heads, and we want to understand the history of why there is such a struggle there in that region of the world. And we're going to look as well at some components to that conflict that you're never going to hear in the Western mainstream media. So that should be coming up Monday. It could be Tuesday, but I'm shooting for Monday. So there's some program notes for you. So Playhouse tomorrow, live stream Sunday, and then we're back to normal programming on Monday. By the way, I just, well, no, I'm going to keep that under my hat. I'll tell you about that later. All right, let's move on to what I want to talk about today. Really just a couple of things. And the first thing I want to talk about is this. I am looking physically, or rather literally and metaphorically, for a silver lining. Looking for a silver lining in this weather. It's supposed to be nicer tomorrow, but I'm also looking for a silver lining in terms of current events. And I have in mind, pardon me, I have in mind right now the war, and I am speaking about the one in Israel and Palestine. And it is undoubtedly, admittedly, a tragic thing. It is horrific. There are so many innocent people who are losing their lives and their homes and their possessions because of this war. It's awful. There are innocent people always in every war. There are innocent people in Palestine and in Israel and in the surrounding areas that are caught up in the crossfire of this thing. And it's terrible. I mean, it's just awful what some of these people are having to endure because of this war. So the question would be, is there a silver lining to this anyway? Is there any good news to report? Do we have to just dwell on all these negatives? Do we have is there anything good that we can report? Do we find any live puppy dogs under debris or anything like that? Is there a silver lining? And I'm going to maintain in today's video that there is a silver lining, and I have found it. It does not have to do with the war between Israel and Palestine per se, but it is a silver lining, and here is what it is. Because of the war in Israel and Palestine, a lot of attention has been diverted in the West from Ukraine and what's happening there in Ukraine with the Zelensky regime and all of the corruption there, but in particular with the war. Now, as you know, Zelensky is always in handout mode. He's always begging for money, and he always gets it, of course, at least from the United States. Sometimes he'll go on tour, as he did a couple of weeks ago. He was in Washington with his hand out, and we gave him money. He was in Canada with his hand out. What a debacle that was. And, of course, Trudeau gave him money. I think it was, $650 million. And then he went to Poland with his hand out. That didn't go so well. It was really a disaster of a trip, particularly with regard to what happened in Canada, which was eye-opening, was it not, and revealing when you saw who, later on, of course, who received the standing ovation. I did a video on that. You can go back and watch that. But Zelensky has his hand out perpetually to the West. But the war in Israel has caused the United States government to shift its focus, to some degree at least, away from Ukraine and Zelensky, because this war in Israel now has taken the headline. It's taken kind of the air out of the room vis-a-vis Ukraine and Zelensky and Russia. And I see that as a positive. I see that as a good thing, because the less we help this puppet, this actor, this fraud, this imbecile of a leader in Kiev, the less we help him, the quicker that thing can be brought to an end, the quicker Russia can prevail and rid Ukraine of these, as I pointed out in this program, the people we are supporting with our tax dollars. And the closer we get to Putin ending that war, that conflict, and restoring some measure of sanity to Ukraine. By the way, have I mentioned, and if you are a Christian, this should concern you, and if you listen to the Western mainstream media, you don't know this, but under Zelensky, there has been a total persecution of Christians. Zelensky has closed churches with his army, and he has put clerics, clergy, pastors in prison. Okay? Did you know that? So Putin is not only battling these in Ukraine, but he's also trying to liberate Christians and their leaders. And who are we supporting? Who is the United States government supporting? I just told you. So anything that we can do to take the headlines away from Zelensky and Ukraine, and the less money we can give him because of what's happening in Israel, I'll take it. There's your silver lining. Now, I want you to notice that with regard to Israel, of course, America and Israel are peas in a pod. We're always going to support Israel no matter what, regardless of whether we should. We do. Israel, in a very real sense of the word, has great sway over the American government and what we do in terms of foreign policy. And as soon as this war broke out, I want you to make note of this. Anthony Blinken got on a jet and rushed as fast as he could go to Israel. He went to either Tel Aviv or Jerusalem. I guess he went to Jerusalem. I forget which. As quickly as he could go, he jets to Israel to pledge to Netanyahu the undying support of the American government. I mean, he could not get there fast enough. And whatever Israel needs, all the money they need, all the equipment they need, anything they need, Benjamin, we're here to help you. And he was followed closely by Secretary of Defense Lloyd, what's his name? Nolan? Is it Lloyd? The Secretary of Defense, his name escapes me. But the Secretary of Defense was there as quickly as he could get there. Do you see a problem with that? Do you see a problem with Blinken and Lloyd, what's his name, jetting to Israel as soon as that war broke out to give any type of aid to Israel they can possibly give them in this war? And of course, Biden, I don't believe he is physically gone, but it's probably just a matter of time until he does. And certainly he's engaged on this matter. He's undoubtedly on the phone with Netanyahu, telling him he'll give him anything that he wants, anything that he needs. What did you not see? Similarly, let me ask you a question. If Anthony Blinken can jet as quickly as he can to Israel to show support for Israel in their battle against Hamas and the Palestinians, and Lloyd, what's his name, can get to Israel as fast as he can with the pledge of money and support and equipment and anything Israel needs, we are there for you. Here's my question. How come you people couldn't rush to the Texas border to do the same thing? That's my question. Anthony Blinken, how many trips have you made to the Rio Grande River? Secretary of Defense Lloyd, whatever your name is, how come you haven't been to the Rio Grande River? How come you haven't been to the Mexican border? You do realize, of course, we're being invaded on a daily basis with thousands and thousands of illegal aliens coming across our border that we know of. There are even more than the numbers I quoted the other day, which I believe in 2022 were 6,800 illegal alien encounters a day. But there are more, of course, because there are people coming across our border that we don't know of. We don't know if they're Chinese nationals. We don't know if they're Muslim terrorists. We don't know we don't know who they are. But why didn't you go to our border? Blinken, why didn't you go to the Texas border? Why are you so fast to go to the Israeli border, but not our border? Whose Secretary of State are you anyway? God, these people, it's just maddening. Are our priorities skewed and screwed, or are they not? Should our defense of our homeland not take priority over the defense of Israel? This isn't Israel I'm talking about. I'm speaking as an American. We've got our own border. We've got our own problems. We've got our own invasion that the Biden administration and Nolan and Blinken are completely tone deaf to. They're turning a blind eye to it. But if Israel has any problem, off we go. It is outrageous. Unbelievable. Now I want to move on to the race for the Speaker of the House. Those of you that are in America are undoubtedly keeping up with this, and those of you in the West may be to some degree. But as you know, last week, Congressman Matt Gaetz called for a vote, basically a vote of confidence on former Speaker Kevin McCarthy. And McCarthy did not survive the vote. He was voted out of office. He did not get a majority or enough votes to remain in office, and because of the efforts of Matt Gaetz, McCarthy was voted out, so he's out. And since that time, we've been trying to elect a new Speaker of the House. And essentially, it came down to a contest between Congressman Steve Scalise of Louisiana and Congressman Jim Jordan of Florida. I'm a little fond of Jordan. I think he's a pretty good guy. He's been really good. He's been dogged in his pursuit of gaining information about all the goings-on with the Biden crime family and all the everything, all the peripheral issues with that. I thought initially my own idea was Jordan had no chance. He is not a classic neocon per se. Scalise is more of the same. Having Scalise as Speaker of the House would be pretty much like having McCarthy all over again. There's really no point in getting McCarthy out of there if you're just going to replace him with Scalise. Scalise is a company man. He's a neocon. He's a rhino. He's the boilerplate Republican, big government Republican. He's not railing against our debt and our spending and all that so much. He may give it lip service, but he would just be another version of McCarthy. The only difference being he's from Louisiana and McCarthy's from California. Well, the Republican conference went into private session and they voted, and the vote was between Scalise and McCarthy, and Scalise and Jordan. Scalise got, I think, like 119 or 20 votes, and Jordan got 99. And so before they brought it to the floor for a full vote of the Congress, it became evident that Scalise did not have enough votes, although he had enough to be nominated. The votes were not there for him to be elected Speaker of the House. And a lot of this was going on behind closed doors, which rankles me to no end. These things should be out in the public. This is the people's house, after all. Well, to make a long story short, Scalise pulled out of the whole thing and said, just forget it. If I don't have the votes, I'm not going to belabor this thing, and I'll just get out. So now they are meeting as I filmed this on a Friday morning. Now the GOP members are back in session trying to hammer this out, and I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know if Jordan has the votes, but it works like this. The Republicans are in control by just a few votes, but they do have more members in the House than the Democrats. So the next speaker will be from the GOP. The next speaker will be a Republican. But the problem is, and I say that because no Democrat is going to vote for any Republican. That's just not going to happen. But unless the Republicans can get every member of the Republican House to vote for, or pretty much every member to vote for the nominee, then we're just going to be deadlocked again and back to square one. So you can only lose, if you're going up for Speaker, you can only lose, I don't know the exact number, I think it's around 8. You can't lose more than 8 or so GOP votes, because if you do, you're not going to be elected. So they are having quite a problem finding a candidate in the GOP that everyone will coalesce behind or rally behind. There are people who just don't want to vote for Jim Jordan. So it's basically between the rhinos and the neocons and guys like Jordan or Gates, somebody like that, too many members just don't want. Whether they can find a candidate everybody can agree on remains to be seen. I suppose eventually they will. But there's a point that I want to make about all this, because now, for over a week now, we have been without a Speaker of the House, which means nothing is getting done because we have no Speaker. Perhaps today they'll bring Jordan up for a vote and he'll get in. I have my doubts that will happen. And if Jordan doesn't get in, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know where they're going to find somebody that enough members can agree on. And in the meantime, the House is just in limbo and nothing is getting done. And you know what? I'm loving it, because what we have now is my favorite feature of the American government. You know what it is? It's what we like to call gridlock, baby. Gridlock. You know what happens when you have gridlock? Nothing gets done. And that, I maintain, is a good thing. Because when we have Congress in session, people gripe about, well, they're on vacation again, or Biden's on vacation again, the Senate's on vacation again, they're out of session, and McCarthy has let everybody out on vacation. When I hear about these people going on vacation, you know what I say? Enjoy your trip, fellas and gals. When you're on vacation, that means you're not inside the Beltway listening to lobbyists and voting on bills that are probably not going to be any good. So I love gridlock. It's my favorite thing. When we have gridlock, we're at a standstill. Gridlock is probably my second favorite thing, right behind government shutdowns. I almost never get the shutdown, but we often get gridlock, and that is wonderful. I love it, pardon me, when we have gridlock. That's what we've got right now, is gridlock. So I don't know how this is going to resolve itself. We'll eventually get a speaker, but I don't know if it's going to be today. Maybe they'll just let everybody out for the weekend so they can go home and think about it and maybe come back Monday. I don't know. I have my doubts that it would be Jim Jordan. I hope it's Jordan. I would like to see Jim Jordan as a speaker. That would be refreshing. That would be nice. But I don't know who it's going to be. Perhaps we shall find out today. Now, one last thing before I go. I want to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, as I said on, I believe it was yesterday's show or the day before yesterday, but it bears repeating. Please ignore the media, particularly those of you who are watching me in the West, in the Americas, in Canada, in France, Germany, Western Europe. Please ignore the media. If they are telling you A, believe B. Whatever they are telling you about this war, believe me, you can believe the opposite. Whatever they are telling you about Ukraine, believe me, you can believe the opposite, because almost certainly what you hear from the mainstream media is going to be a lie. You can take that to the bank. Just believe the opposite of what they say, and you're going to be better off. With rare exception, you have to go dig for the real news. It is out there. This is one source right here. How about that? Follow the Duran. Follow Alex Christoforou. Follow Alexander, oh my Lord, Mercurus. Follow Jimmy Dore. There's a lot of channels out there where you can get the truth. But I want to remind you, as I said about Ukraine, if you're in the West, is not our headline. Israel and Hamas is not our headline. Let me remind you, ladies and gentlemen, our headline is our borders, in no particular order, but this for me is number one. That's our headline. Don't forget that. I've got several cards to show you. None of them say Israel, okay? That is our headline. Here's our other headline. The Biden crime family. You might want to take notes. The Biden crime family. That's another of our headlines. Here is another of our headlines. If you're in the West, violence, particularly in our cities. That is a headline. Keep your eye on the ball, ladies and gentlemen. Stay focused on what the real headlines are. I've actually added one. Here's another headline. The debt. We're $33 trillion in debt. $222 trillion if you factor in unfunded liabilities. Did you get that? Are you taking notes? Our out-of-control spending. Our refusal to stop spending and balance our budget, our refusal to cut spending, our insistence on printing money, our IOUs, money we're going to have to pay back to China. This is the headline, ladies and gentlemen. One more that I need to add to the list. What is this, 6 or 5? Our neocon foreign policy, our penchant for global expansionism and hegemony, our penchant for constant warring overseas and meddling in the affairs of other nations. Those are the headlines, ladies and gentlemen. Stay focused. Do not be diverted on things that do not warrant our attention as much as these headlines do. Those are our headlines. Please do me a favor, like I said before, share these videos with your friends and family and on social media. I would really appreciate that. Give me a big thumbs up on this video if you would. Hit that big thumbs up down below and like the video. If you have not subscribed to the Trailer Trash Tim channel, as long as you are not an illegal alien, you're a legal resident of your nation, and as long as you do not wear a face mask, you are more than welcome to subscribe to the Trailer Trash Tim channel and join our growing community. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining me today. Go out there and have a tremendous Friday. I will see you tomorrow for the Trailer Trash Tim Playhouse. Everybody have a great one, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye. I say bye-bye. How come this thing ain't shutting off? Welcome to Blooper World. You know what I did? I just bought a new remote gadget that's supposed to turn my camera on, and all of a sudden it's not. By the way, I am going to be putting together a blooper reel. You would not believe some of the stuff that happens behind the scenes that never gets put on camera. Oh, by the way, while I'm still here, you still thinking about this? Look at the camera, buddy. Let's try that again. I may lose you. Here we go. And speaking of bloopers, I just realized I did that entire show without my microphone on. Now, I've got one of two choices. I can shoot the show again with the microphone on, or just leave it as is, and hopefully you can hear what I said. I think you probably can. I'll give it a try before we get to editing and airing. It's Friday the 13th. Hey, this is bonus footage. You want me to sing or something? Thanks a lot, everybody. You're going to see something today, one way or another. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody. Here's my clicker. Let's see if it works. I'm trying to go hands-free, you know.